is our last player, quarterback Drew Mestemaker. Fire away the questions.
Do you know everybody's name yet?
No, not yet. I'm getting there.
Drew, what's it been like adjusting to the change of scenery here in Stillwater?
Yeah, it's definitely different. You know, Denton's kind of the outskirts of Dallas, and you got all the construction going on and all the highways and everything. And then here, it's kind of all about this place, and I think that's really what made it different. Whenever I stepped on campus, you can feel the school spirit here and how much everyone's all about this place.
Into the portal, I think many of us on the outside thought it was probably a foregone conclusion that you might end up here with Coach Morris. Was that the case for you, or kind of what was your recruitment like?
No, I mean, I knew the whole time, like, Coach Morris was going to be a huge factor, and wherever he went, like, that was probably going to be where I was going. And I was learning new things about myself on social media every day, that I was, getting this much money from this school and this much money from this school. Like, it was all stuff that I wasn't even thinking about. And but I told Coach Morris, I was like, Coach, I want to still see what's out there, because, I never got recruited out of high school, and it's like I just want to see what's out there. But it was a pretty quick recruiting process, and I made my decision pretty quickly.
What was that like for you? You mentioned coming out of high school, no one's really coming after you, and then suddenly everyone wants you. What's that difference?
It was crazy. I kind of learned pretty quickly that you got to keep your circle small, and kind of, you hear things about yourself that you didn't even know was going on. So it's kind of, you got to keep your focus small, and especially whenever I was trying to finish out last year in that bowl game and everything, and all those rumors were going around, I had to, keep my circle small and just keep the main thing the main thing.
I want to go deeper, go all the way back to the Texas State, the bowl game at SMU. You'd redshirted, you were a walk-on, you go out there, what did you throw for 6 touchdowns or something like that? It was a whole lot of yards and a whole lot of touchdowns. What's your life been like since then? Because I'm going to guess people started calling after that game.
Yeah, it was crazy to think, that game was 13 months ago, and, my life has done a complete 180, and I've always dreamed about being in this position. And for it to happen this fast, I didn't expect it, but I've been ready for it the whole time, and this is all I could ask for right now.
Some kids have it straight out of high school. You had to kind of work a little and wait a little for it. Which way do you think's better?
I wouldn't trade my way for the world.
Drew, can you talk about when you were at North Texas, all the expectations were new because you were a relative unknown. Now you're going to have a ton of expectations because of what you did. How do you handle that? How do you navigate that?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you've got to be your own biggest critic. And I think whenever I'm looking to be the best within myself, and have guys like Coach Morris and Coach Brophy who, no matter if after the USF game whenever we got blown out, or after, the bowl game when we're 12-2, they're going to coach me the same, and, they want me to be the best player I can be. And so I think whenever I have that drive within myself and have coaches that can drive me to be the best player, it kind of, the expectations don't really faze you.
Drew, what's your role in helping to install this offense? Eric was talking about how important it was for his coaches to come with him, but to have all you guys who have played in the system, the system, and you can be around teammates who don't know those things, what do you sort of see as your role in all of that?
Yeah, I think, it's different when you're out there and the bullets are flying. I think it's my role is just to get the receivers on the same page of how I see it, because I know, guys like Miles Coleman, who I've known since I was 5 years old, like, we see it the same way. So I need to get everyone on that same page of how I see it and how they see it as well. I don't want to be the quarterback saying, you got to run it this way, you got to run it this way, like I see it like this. Well, then, what happens if that's like awkward to them, or they can't, get to that spot at that time. So I think it's just getting on the same page as your guys and, finding out what works for them and them finding out what works for me.
Is it an interesting sort of dichotomy to be in a position where you do know the system and you can like talk to teammates about it, but then you're also trying to mix in all that chemistry stuff we've been talking about? Like, is that kind of an interesting dance to find yourself in?
Yeah, it is. It's different, because you're sitting in the same install meetings and, you already know everything. You could probably teach it if you had to. So, it's definitely different, but you also got to look back to a year ago whenever you were in that position and you were in over your head and swimming in deep water and, kind of taking it slow with those guys and seeing that they got to learn it too to get up to pace.
What can you say about the 3 other guys in the quarterback room?
Yeah, I think they're awesome. Grant coming in from Yale and UMass, he's got experience and, knows football. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned is, you can be talented, but you got to, know the game of football to play quarterback. And, obviously Grant's talented and knows the game, and he's been awesome. And then Brody and Luke, both of our freshmen, are very talented, and they're picking up the offense really quick. Honestly, probably quicker than I did my freshman year. So it's impressive to see them go out there and perform.
How important is Wyatt to that wide receivers room and trying to work through this install?
Yeah, I think he's really important. He, kind of has that quarterback mind as a receiver because he played quarterback in high school. And I think having a guy who sees the game like that, who's seen it at the quarterback position and then now at the receiver position, and a guy who's as smart as he is out on the field, it really helps the receivers kind of figure out the nuances of this offense.
Could you share a little bit about getting to know Caleb last year and how he sort of grew into that role?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because we all knew he was our hyped up freshman that we had coming in, and then fall camp and everything he was doing good, but he was getting the young guy reps, and we were like, all right, this guy's just like a grown man already. But he kind of didn't really see the field until Army game, and he got in there with me, and I didn't think anything of it, and he popped off a long run, broke some tackles, and I was like, okay, this kid's pretty good. And then look at the box score at the end of the game, and he has 4 touchdowns, and I felt like it was kind of like that the whole year. He'd just kind of go get in the end zone somehow, and you'd look at the box score at the end of the game, and you're like, holy crap, he had 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. And so he was kind of just consistent the whole time, and never really made it known with his mouth. It was kind of all on the field, and it's been awesome getting to know him more as a person throughout the year and through the off season.
Have the two of y'all ever talked about just how crazy it is? By all accounts, you two weren't really recruited much in high school, but a lot of places consider y'all two of the most wanted guys in the portal. Have y'all talked about how strange it is to go from one extreme to the other?
Yeah, a little bit. I think in the portal, whenever it all started, it was definitely a lot for both of us. But I think, it's kind of what makes this whole team special, honestly. From the coaches to the players, you don't see 15 5-stars on this team. It's a bunch of guys that kind of got overlooked and, found their spot. And I think that really, means more to a player and how a player plays out on the field than, stars.
Drew, what's your role as kind of the leader of this team and bringing your North Texas guys together with the existing guys here or guys that have come in from other schools?
Yeah, I think, obviously at the quarterback position you're going to be looked at as a leader, but I don't want to be the quarterback that just is a quarterback. I try to make it known that I'm just a normal guy, and I love playing football. I love hanging out with friends. I love, golfing, going out with the guys. And, I think at the end of the day, that's really what makes the relationships that much better. And, whenever you can, get on your boy for doing something wrong, it's different from getting on someone just as because you're in a leadership position. It's easier to get on someone whenever they look at you as a friend and a role model or, someone they actually enjoy being around.
And off topic, who in college football did you grow up cheering for or watching?
Yeah, I think, whenever I was younger, Marcus Mariota, obviously Johnny Manziel, those guys. And then, growing up, I've kind of just always liked players, watching players. And, Joe Burrow's year was awesome to watch. And I've always just kind of liked watching specific quarterbacks and never really had a specific team.
Drew, you were talking about this is something you always dreamed about, getting to a place where you're the quarterback at a big-time school. You didn't even get to start in high school. Most players who have that dream, they sort of let it go when they don't even get the opportunity in high school. Why did you never let that dream go?
Yeah, I think I've always had the belief in myself that one day it'd somehow work out. And, some people probably call you crazy for thinking that, but I think that's kind of the mentality you have to have. And, I remember having calls with D3 coaches that wanted me to come be an athlete and play both sides of the ball. And, I remember telling them, like, my goal is to play Power 4 football. Like, I wanna be under the bright lights. I wanna do that. And, they told me I was crazy and I didn't, have the film for it and everything. But I knew somehow an opportunity would come and work out, and I didn't know how it happened, and I'm forever grateful for Coach Morris taking a chance on me.
I'm guessing you had days, you were confident in yourself, but I'm guessing you had days when you're like, gosh, is this going to work out? Like, when am I going to get my break? How did you kind of push through those days and stay committed to this path and getting here?
Yeah, I would have gone and played football anywhere in the country that would have taken me. I was actually going out to California to play JUCO football. I literally went out there on a visit. I don't even know if you could have called it a visit, but I went out there to look at the school, and I was like, well, if this is where I have to play quarterback, and if this is a place that'll let me play quarterback, I'll come out here and do it. And, then Sam Houston came around because of my tight ends coach in high school was like roommates with one of their coaches. So they gave me a walk-on spot, and then Coach Morris, literally like probably a month before summer workout started, gave me a walk-on spot. So, I never would have guessed it would have gone like that, but I'm forever grateful.
I asked Caleb the same question. How much of an advantage is it to have so many familiar faces with your teammates and obviously the coaching staff here at OSU?
Yeah, it's definitely, awesome having those relationships already built. But, like Coach Morris has said and like all the other guys have said, it's not, a previous relationship group and a new relationship. It's like we're all in this together, and it's this team now. It's not, who I've known before. Like, I've known Miles Coleman since I was 5 years old, and I treat him just the way I treat, new receivers and new guys that I meet for the first time. So I just try to, be that same guy every day when I show up.
Obviously, there's a lot of expectations entering this season. How have you guys been able to, handle the outside noise that's, coming in here?
Yeah, I think whenever, like I said earlier, whenever you're your biggest critic and, you set those high goals for yourself, it's nothing different than you see from the outside. And, Coach Morris has said it in here, the only thing that matters to this team is winning football games. Whatever it takes to, if we have to win 3-0, if we have to, score 70 points, it doesn't matter to us as long as, we have more points at the end of the game.
Drew, it's your position in college football. It's more than football now. Nobody likes to talk about the money and all those things, but it's there. You look to me like a guy that just wants to deal with the football stuff. Who do you trust outside? Is it family, or do you have an agent? But who do you trust to take care of that? I need to take care of football. Yeah,
I think my mom's been my biggest person to fall back on so far, and I got an agent that I really trust and really like this off season, and I'm kind of trying to build a team that I trust of people who I can trust to take care of everything else on the outside, because at the end of the day, I just love football. I was paying to play football 2 years ago, and so I at the end of the day just want to play football. And my mom and my agent have been really big factors in that in this off season. And then another guy who has been my mentor since I've, been in elementary school. Dakota Prukop, he's, played at Oregon, played in the CFL, now looking for a college football coaching job. Like, those guys, especially him, he's especially someone who's seen it before all the NIL stuff and kind of, been on the big stage already. It's good to have those people in your corner.
Are any of your classes actually in classrooms, or is it all online? And how, just on campus, how are, because all these kids know who you are and know your circumstances, right? Are they cool about it, or what's the reception to you been campus-wide?
Yeah, I actually just came straight here from class in person. So I have 2 in-person classes, and it's kind of crazy that people know who I am when I'm walking around. It's because at North Texas it wasn't like that, and it's kind of weird that people know who I am when I'm walking around. But it's been cool, meeting people through campus, and everyone's been really nice about it. Like, just ask for a picture, I'm not gonna say no, and so it's been cool, seeing everyone on campus and everything.
So there's been 3 questions about expectations. The word is pressure, right? So it's been 9 years since they had consistently reliable quarterback play, right? And now you come in, it's a rebuild, 2 bad years, and the pressure's all on your shoulders. So you said you want to play big time college football, that's part of it, I guess. So you acknowledge it, that's there, and you, I don't know, maybe even embrace it.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like I said earlier, this is what I've dreamed of. It's you look back and you think about all those times when, I was emailing schools and they said they didn't have a quarterback spot for me, and now you have the privilege of having all that pressure on you. It's everything you could have dreamed of.
I was hanging with the wrestlers.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was crazy. That was definitely a welcome to Stillwater moment.
Obviously, mentioning the getting to meet people here on campus, how excited are you for the spring game on April 18th? Oh,
I'm really excited. I'm excited to, there's been so much buzz around this new team and these new coaches and everyone coming in, and I'm really excited to get part of the atmosphere out there and kind of see what it's all about in Power 4 football.
Drew,
When you were growing up, what did you know about Oklahoma State football?
Yeah, I've known this school's been a winning program since I started watching college football, and you can feel that even when you step in this building still. I knew about their past 2 seasons and their struggles, but you can tell as soon as you walk in this building, that's not what this place is. And it's not because people are saying oh, you should have seen us back in whatever. Like you can tell as soon as you walk in this building, this building's special, and you win when you're here.
Drew, after you led the wrestlers in, I saw you watching. I feel like I watched you either take a picture or sign something for every kid that was in there. Could you just, I don't know, when you sort of dreamed of playing big time college football, did you ever think about what it would mean and how kids would look up to you, and what did it mean that day to have so much attention?
It was crazy, but I kind of think back to whenever I was in that position. I was that same kid walking up to, I was doing it in high school. I was going to high school games and asking for their autograph. And so I kind of think back to whenever I was that kid, and, I have just always loved football and, loved everything about it. And so, I'm not going to be the one to say no whenever those kids are asking for an autograph, because it takes 10 seconds of my time, and, if they keep it and they love it, it's awesome.
Were you surprised that day by how many kids and also just fans in general came up to you?
Yeah, a little bit. It was definitely surprising, but it was awesome.
Hey, speaking of kids, how does 5-year-old Drew meet 5-year-old Miles?
Well, we lived in the same neighborhood, and we were playing flag football against each other, and Miles was always the hot topic. Leading up to high school, he was the guy that everyone knew once he got to high school he was going to make noise, and so to get that opportunity to grow up with him and then go to the same college as him, at North Texas somehow, even though he was the best player on our team, and I was punting and playing DB. it was awesome to, kind of continue our journey together.
How close were the
I don't know how
houses?
much you know about Dublin, but do you want to